We are live.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, so the first point on the agenda, can we get an update on Fusaka DevNet 2 and what bugs have been found or what's the current status? Maybe Barnabas gives us an overview first.
Yeah, sure. So the current overview is during the weekend we had a non-finality due to a Taku and Nethermind bug. Both Taku and Nethermind bug have been since fixed, and the network is now finalizing again. This morning we have had to nuke a lot of databases. There was lots of database corruptions on NimbuCL, on Nethermind, on Bezu, and currently the main client that is having issues is Ref. So TakuRef1, TakuRef2, NimbusRef1, NimbusRef2, they are failing to find peers. So there might be some peering related problems. And Grandin Bezu1 had a corrupted database as well. And that just got restarted, so it should come online soon.
Could you maybe tell us why we had non-finality first and why was that such a problem for the ELs more than the CLs?
So the non-finality was caused by Netherman and Taku both being offline. They just had over like 40% of the network. So maybe Netherman can explain what the bug was, and then maybe Taku can also.
Yeah, the bug was just about fork IDs that were improperly calculated, and we were not connected on execution layer to any other peers. And yeah, probably it could form a separate cluster of pairs with separate fork because of that. Not sure.
On the Teku side, we published I guess a cleanup commit on the Fusaka DevNet 2 branch, and I think it was a cleanup commit mostly, but I guess there has been some regression in that, and when we pushed the commit there, we were not thinking about that everything now is automated and the commit was about to be published anyway on Fusaka. It's good that we have the actual immediate test that something was wrong there. But I don't have any more detail on that. We will take a closer look to what has been changed there to find out what was the problem. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, and maybe one follow-up for the fork ID bug. Is there some reason we didn't really catch that in local testing? Because that also sounds like it should be quite easy to reproduce.
So it worked before because Genesis, most likely Genesis timestamp was the same as timestamps for the initial forks. Maybe it was zeros or so. Not sure. It's an old part of the code, and that was not changed a lot, and probably new configuration in the devnet revealed it. Yeah.
Okay, glad we caught that then. And Barnabas, did you already look into why that led to hearing issues or database corruption issues, or does someone from Red or Bezu have some update on that?
So,
From
yep, go for it, guys.
Sorry, from Bezo, I think the error was not related to any of the Fusaka changes. It may be an existing sync issue in Bezo. With the DB being restarted, the node is synced well and progressing well now.
Okay, so on Bezo it was likely unrelated and there might still be some bug out there. Because
Yeah, very
I
likely.
mean,
I will look into it, but I don't think it's
okay,
maybe related to the Fusaka changes.
okay, cool, good to know. Thank you. Maybe Roman from Reds, have you guys looked into the peering issue yet?
We're trying to look into it, but the problem is that we have trouble reproducing it locally. So the best approach for us right now is inspecting the logs and trying to understand what happened on the tackle boxes, on the red tackle boxes.
It's also on Nimbus. Is there something I can do, like enable debug mode, or maybe you can run locally a ref binary on the node so you can actually reproduce it locally on the devnet machine?
Yeah, thanks for the offer. Let's continue the discussion in Telegram chat.
Sure.
I'm talking to Matt right now as well, so
Okay.
we'll look into it.
Okay, were there any other unexplained bugs on Fusaka DevNet 2? What's still left to be done on it?
So the really first bug was the prism bug that should have been caught by a spec test. I actually forgot to mention that, and this caused Prism to basically fork away right away, and we were able to reproduce that fairly easily with the Genesis sync. There's now a new spec test for it, and that has been merged.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that also is a whole class of tests, right? I don't know, Justin, do you want to maybe talk about it? Do we want to backport the validator changes to every fork?
We could. I'll need to look into that more.
Okay, because it seems like at least a test that's worth having, irrespective of which fork we're on.
Yeah, I agree. I don't have much other information on this bug. Maybe POTUS or someone else would.
I don't know who from Prism's here today, but yeah, we can probably get some information from them later. Irrespective if you're a CL team, then please have a look at the test, and it should be, I guess, part of the next release. So you will be using the test soon anyway.
And I can quickly say that all other clients do pass the test, which were verified by the nightly spec tests.
Awesome, that's perfect. Anything else on Fusaka DevNet 2, Barnabas?
Maybe we can bring up the spamming issue that we had. So currently we have no spamming going on. So maybe that's why we were able to recover the non-finality, because there was not enough load on the network. We didn't have any transactions. We didn't have any blob transactions. We currently have a spammer bug that we're taking a look at right now. So hopefully we can actually reproduce a real non-finality, and hopefully we can also recover from that.
Okay. Is that also what you wanted to talk about, Jakob? Or did you want to bring up a different topic?
Yeah, it was something related to that. Maybe I can just bring that up, or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So what I really want to do is also some performance tests on this DevNet, because we've reintroduced, or not reintroduced, we've introduced this 7907 ERP, which, well, it's 10 times the maximum contract size. And what I really want to test there is actually calling as many contracts there as possible, because I will not go into the details, but I think it's still possible to call about 11,000 contracts with this size within a 30 million gas transaction. And I have been setting up these tests, but for that we actually need 11,000, let's say 12,000 of these large contracts. And this is actually being done by the spammer. But yeah, as you mentioned, there likely is a bug in the spammer because it is not deploying anything at all at this moment. And we are currently at 3,500 contracts, so we are not close to the actual state which we need for this this performance test. I just wanted to bring up that we need these performance tests because I really want to see that if we do these kind of let's say attack vectors, that we do not suddenly run into like blocks which take like 3 or 4 seconds on clients to run. And I'm working on these attack vectors, and just wanted to bring that up.
Perfect. Thank you. Do you have an intuition for how long it might take to deploy all of the contracts and get through the test? Would you have some talking point by ACDE on Thursday?
I have started this spammer at the point where we forked, and I think that was Saturday. Currently, the spammer is not deploying anything, but I think we can say that we need 1 block per contract, and we of course have it will actually take 2 blocks because of the pricing that if you deploy the 30 million gas contract in a 45 million gas block, then the gas price will rise. So let's say we need, what is it, 6,000, about 8,000 blocks for this to deploy. I think it is possible to deploy this by ACDE, but I'm not really sure because then this has to be fixed. The spammer bug has to be fixed. Yeah.
Awesome. And I see in chat that PK already mentioned that he's working on fixing spammer. So I guess you two will be in touch.
Yes. Okay. Great. Thank you. Thank you, PK. Yeah.
Great. I also see Bharat on the call. Do you maybe want to give us an update on how the MEV testing and MEV workflow is going?
Yeah, for sure. I've updated like MEV Boost and MEV Boost Relay, the Flashbots one to support Hulu. And I've done a bunch of local testing there. And everything generally seems to be fine. There are issues with the issues which I found with respect to the relay. There are some issues like I'm not locally, at least we're not noticing like blob transactions getting into the relay payload. I believe that's an issue with the Ret R builder. We've seen a bunch of error logs. I've reached out to the R builder folks on a TG chat about that. With respect to MEV-Boost, so generally with the MEV relay pipeline, as I told it, transactions without blobs are getting in through the MEV relay for the Fulu fork. So MEV-Boost and MEV-Boost relay generally seem positive as per my local testing. But I think like Barnabas, like probably we'll get it on like devnet too and generally see how it works there. So yeah, that's the thing.
Awesome.
The
So
issue,
the
like,
timeline.
sorry,
the timeline there would then be making sure that the relay is including blobs, so figuring out that bug, and once that's done, we would be deploying the relay on devnet 2.
Yeah, for sure. Like I believe the blobs thing might be an issue with our builder, so we've just reached out to them, and I think the R builder is not building blocks with blobs for whatever reason. I'll talk to them and we'll see where the issue is. And yeah, once that's fixed and blobs are going through MEV-Boost relay, I think we should be good there.
Okay. Thank you for the update. That's also looking good. Yeah, just to touch upon a previous point, Casey from the Prism team mentioned that they had stale validator indices in their proposal look-ahead code, and previous spec tests as well as Cardoso did not change the active validator set. So that is the spec test that has been added. Thanks for that update. Anything else related to Fusaka DevNet 2? I'm currently fighting with the sync test repository. I tried some local sync tests. It seems like Lighthouse is taking a long time to sync. I still have to validate that. The CI version of the sync test is currently broken, and I'll try getting it working in the next day. But if that's done, we should have sync tests on Fusaka DevNet 2.
Are these
And
sync,
sorry, go ahead.
are these sync tests with asserter, or is it like something new, some new tool?
It's kurtosis in asserter. So it's just a script that starts kurtosis and then uses asserter to make sure that the nodes are synced. And then we throw it in a GitHub CI, so we can just run it as often as we want. And there's a UI to track sync time over time, so we can see how it gets worse as the state gets bigger and so on. Barnabas is asking about backfill. Is there any update that CL teams want to share about that?
We have been working on adding backfill after updating the CGC. We haven't merged it yet, but I think we should be able to get it working soon. We have started testing it, I think.
Prism has a branch we're working on it. I haven't touched it since the CDC changes, but that shouldn't be too far off.
So, anything else on Fusaka DevNet 2? Great. Do we then want to start talking about Fusaka DevNet 3 and what's the plan there? Do you have thoughts on that, Barnabas?
It's well, the prerequisite for that is basically deciding the 7907 changes. Do we have the values for that already? Set in stone? All the repricing EIPs?
For the repricing EIP, we do have values. I think we're just confirming that the values are good for scaling beyond 60 million as well. But for 7907, I would assume that depends on Joachim's test, as well as I see Marius is on the chat. He had some thoughts on indexes. Do you maybe want to bring it up, Marius?
Sorry, I had to modify my Zoom stuff. Yeah, so the problem with indexes is like without the index, I don't think the result is workable, because we kind of need to look up too much data in order to answer the question whether we have enough gas to look up this much data. And you can construct these weird fringe cases where you have like subcalls that look up data and then run out of gas, and then you have the outer call calling to the subcall again, and so on. So I think the index is needed by all clients. The question is whether the index should be in protocol or out of protocol. And the problem with having it out of protocol is that in a stateless world, this would mean that the witnesses could be bloated with this data, because you can just do X code size on a bunch of contracts, and then the witness had to contain all of these contracts. I guess right now we don't have stateless and we don't have witnesses. So I don't know if we need to over-index on this future of witnesses, but I think that is something that we need to be very mindful of when we move to stateless, is that we need to make this index be in protocol at some point. So the question is, should we do it now, or should we do it later on?
Yeah, Ben, do you want to go?
Yeah, and related to that is, should we charge extra for it? Because it's essentially would be adding the equivalent of an S load to essentially doing another database lookup to get length.
Okay, Ansgar, do you wanna go?
Yeah, I mean, on that point, basically, like I have a similar general concern as Marius, that basically I feel kind of uncomfortable with the index not being in protocol. I think doing it in protocol for Fusaka at the same time seems to me like not really an option. Maybe people disagree. But yeah, and then as Ben was saying, actually, like also the fact that now if we have the index, that it's not really priced is also a problem. But if you price it, then actually you kind of have to, that means that you have to also reprice contract loads for existing small contracts, right? Because they also first go to the index. And the whole point of this index was that we wanted to avoid having to reprice contract loads for existing use cases because they might break. So it really feels like no matter which way we approach it, it just seems to create complications.
I mean, the pricing is kind of weird because we don't really charge for the lookup for code right now. It's kind of bundled into this account read thing. But if you think about it, like we pay the same to read the balance as we do to load the code for the account. And loading the code hash is like, 2 lookups in the database where the balance is just 1. So I think to me, it is slightly different. Like you're not Merkleizing the code size index. So I'm not convinced that we really need to price it like this.
I just want to bring up that Guillaume will likely present something at ACDE, which solves this problem. Yeah, I will not go into detail, but this will not reprice the existing contracts, and it will put the code size into the account RLP. So, yeah.
That's good to know. Mila, do you wanna go?
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to make a small comment that I was looking into this in Aragon, and I think I also discussed it with other people in Aragon, and we think that we actually can load the code size without loading the code in memory, and we actually don't need any extra index for this operation. So we don't need to store any extra data. So kind of like my preference would be to sort of leave this out of protocol unless there's very good reasons, like in terms of future direction for why we would want to add it in protocol. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight that. But if you guys kind of foresee that there's any strong reasons to add it in the try, then I guess we'll have to. But yeah, we don't really need this index, for example.
Is there then any concrete thing we should be working on between now and ACDE besides the test that Joachim is running? And I guess we make a decision at ACDE about how 7907 goes ahead.
Yeah, I will make sure that, or I will try to get these benchmarks and these performance tests done by ACDE. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you guys think needs to happen before ACDE, Ansgar or Marius, regarding the CIP?
Well, maybe the only question, because I was briefly away when Joachim talked about the tests that we want to run anyway. Does that include the test where we basically do this clever kind of running out of gas at the right moment in time to basically stress test the worst case test, or is it only the regular test where you actually fully load and are able to pay for the full load?
No, this is exactly the test which you say. What you do is you do a call or a subcall to a contract where you want to call a target contract. For this target contract, you will have exactly enough code to call into a 24 kilobyte or less contract, but you will not have enough gas to actually pay for this this code size cost. So what you can then do, you will force clients to actively look up this code, and it can either be via the site index, or for clients which do not have the site index, they are forced to load the entire code to actually look up the code size, so they can determine the price. And yeah, of course, this will run out of gas, but that also means that we can still read the same amount of contracts which are like now bigger than the 24 kilobytes. And that's indeed the performance test. So likely that's what I would expect, but yeah, my attack is either not working or every client has already done this successfully. But that would mean that every client which does not have this site index has to load something like 3 gigabytes of data. So yeah, I think yeah, this performance test, that's the goal of this test. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's exactly the test that I think we just need to run. So that sounds good then.
There was also a comment in the EIP that Mario linked. Do you maybe want to just bring it up, Mario?
Yeah, of course. It's a very simple open question is